Good evening, everyone, and welcome to WWD China's roundtable discussion, The Front Row. Today, our focus is on the spring-summer collections of 2026. This season has been one of transformation with, I think, 14 new creative directors defining heritage houses and brands, which will no doubt reshape the style landscape for the several years to come. So from Paris to Shanghai, from the runway to the market, the industry is shifting again in real time. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome with me our senior editor, Ziyi Liu. She is based in Paris, and she has invited two amazing guests to our first front row discussion. Ziyi.
Thank you, Johannes. So hello, everyone. I'm Ziyi Liu, Liu Ziyi in Chinese. And I'm very happy here to be with our very experienced professional guests today. So let's welcome with me the first, Florence Julienne, trend analyst, fashion journalist at Fashion United France. And she has worked more than 20 years in fashion. So if we include the 6 fashion shows and also the trade shows, she has already been to more than 1,500 events in fashion industry. So with this experience, I believe Florence can bring us very insightful suggestions and her opinion. So welcome, Florence.
Welcome. Thank you for inviting me.
And we are also very honored to have Orietta Pelizzari. So Orietta, she's Special Project Senior Consultant of CNMI, which is Camera Nazionale della Moda Italiana, with which we worked with in the past Milano Fashion Week, and also International Cross-Culture Advisor for Italian luxury industry. So Orietta has already worked as consultant for more than 23 years for Camera della Moda, and she focused on the communication of Made in Italy through culture in different cities and countries. So welcome, Orietta.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me as well.
Welcome. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being with us. And we are going to kick off our discussion. And tonight, we are going to focus on a few key questions that we all have after seeing the spring-summer 2026 collections. One is, when hype meets craft, what truly defines impact? And as brands fight for attention, who is really writing fashion's next chapter? And between data and creativity, what does the success of a collection mean today? So, Zoe, let's start with our first topic, the season of change.
Yes, of course. So this season has been one of the most transformative with new creative directors for the fashion houses. So with many creative directors redefining the brands, which show has impressed you the most? And not just for visuals, but how it expressed the brand's new identity. Florence, maybe you have some words to share with us, I believe.
I start. I think I'm not going to be very diplomatic with my answer. I'm sorry about it. Of course, there were a lot of change. Jonathan Anderson at Dior, Mathieu Blasi at Chanel, Demna at Gucci, Duran Lantic at Jean-Paul Gaultier, and Pier Paolo at Balenciaga. So it makes a big difference. But I think it's a change, but in French we call it les chaises tournantes. I don't know in English how to say that. It means that it is one was in Loewe, now is in Dior. One was in Balenciaga, now is in Gucci. One, it's just change of people. So I wonder how fashion can really be changed with only change of person. It's the same way of thinking fashion. They are super creative, that's for sure. About creativity, they are super good. Demna is probably the show that impressed me the most because it transfers his aesthetical code from that he made in Balenciaga to Gucci, and it works. So I would say that they now impress me the most. And Mathieu also is amazing. But they miss something. And I think what they miss is the way of thinking fashion in a way of eco-responsibility and ethical concept. There is no change about this. There is no change about inclusivity. There is no change about respect animals. There is no change about thinking of fabrics, of recycling. That's something that's why I think, wow, creativity, super, but ethically speaking, I wonder. I'm not convinced.
Okay, I like how you said it's the swivel chair, the chairs that are changing. They're just changing their places, but it's the same participants. So, from your point of view, Orietta, what do you think of this idea that it's the same participants changing their places in different brands? I think in Italian fashion, for example, like in OTB, they also have their designers changing inside the group from this brand to the other brands. So we are talking about not just the Italian fashion, also French, Shanghai. So you can take all the examples you want.
Yeah, of course, and thank you, Florence, to bring into the conversation something that for European is very important, like the sustainability aspect. In my opinion, it's catching the momentum. Catching the momentum for me is a foundation of why big brands like these that we just mentioned needed to change the person on the chair, because I do agree, it's just changing a person. But why they needed to do? They needed to catch the momentum of an aesthetic moment. So I don't think sustainability was the aim, but since I'm international and I'm specialized in going, let me say, catch abroad what's happening and what's going on. At the moment, the aesthetic topic was the most important. And for aesthetic, I mean the way you present your collection, the virality of the language, how hybrid the brand was in connecting the show, the music, the social media, the atmosphere, the AI, virtuality. So all of these things was on the topic. So I do agree that there was not anything related to sustainability or quality or materials, but they catch the momentum of the most influential consumer at the moment, which is make this show remaining in their virtual world. Let me say something like this. Maybe it's because Catwalk is not anymore the platform to showcase who you are. Even this, it's one of the points. Maybe they're using other way to say what they are. But maybe we can respond on the next question.
Yes, so let's stick to this point, because you said what she has shared is that basically a fashion show these days is a holistic aesthetic experience. It's not just about the show itself. But we have seen many shows with really stunning stages, immersive experiences. Do you think that the beauty of these mise en scène, of these putting the show together, is sometimes overshadowing the clothes themselves or the design?
You talking to me?
Oh, let's listen, Florence. To me first?
Yes, because you just mentioned it. So let's go with Orietta first,
just because
you already mentioned the holistic aesthetic.
I think the fashion show is not the only one they needed to express this. This is what I want to say. So when I look a brand like them, I don't see only what they did in a fashion show, honestly. I want to see how they communicate their new concept through social media or through different move like Degna. What Degna did at the beginning is started to put on the social media some images. So this means it's not the fashion show, the topic moment. It's the topic is the connection between the anticipation, during, and past. So the fashion show is not canceling the dresses, in my opinion. The fashion show is just one topic of the iceberg. But what's most important, and Demna, I completely agree, he prepared the audience. He prepared his images. And at one point, we seen the show, but the preparation was stunning. That's what I mean. Now, brands need this.
Florence, what is your take on this? Orietta just mentioned that the strategy of Demna at Gucci, and from social, building up the expectation, sharing visual ideas, sharing creative ideas, and then it builds up to the show. So it's a really also a holistic communication process of your new collection.
But it makes me think two things. First things is that now fashion is no more about garments, as say Orietta, is no more about clothes. Fashion is about lifestyle. And especially the luxury brands, if you look, they make, of course, cosmetic, perfumes, accessories, they make design, they make hotel, they make restaurant, they make food. So now a brand is no more only selling the clothes, it's about create an atmosphere, a lifestyle. Your lifestyle is Vuitton, your lifestyle is Dior, your lifestyle. So this is why the fashion shows are so impressive, and the front row is so celebrity about the fame. It's because the clothes doesn't really are not the more important. And one thing about it is that what they sell, the most that they sell, are bags and perfumes. And if you look at the collection during the show, if you go to the receipt looking at the clothes, and after you go to the shop, there are many things that are not done, especially Vuitton, I would say. They are not done, they are just for the spectacle. Spectacle, it's English?
Yes.
So, yes, there is a gap between what they show and what they are. I agree with Orietta in this way.
I do agree. Thank you, because you explained in an excellent way.
I'm journalist.
I like that.
Okay, so let's move on to our next topic.
Yes, of course. So you just mentioned that it's a spectacle. So I think I've also felt this when I go to fashion shows as well. Especially there are some fashion shows with very impressive live music, like a huge concert, very beautiful setting. For example, big houses, Louis Vuitton, Chanel, they all have this. So Chanel has been one of the most mentioned fashion show on social media this season. What do you think? It has a very beautiful setting, but do you really think Matteo Blasi has opened a new era for Chanel? Is it like this good? I think Orietta has something to say. We will leave Florence think about this for.
Oh, that's just because I have something to say. I think, let me just start and put this into the conversation. I think this was the most challenging test of the season. I think, I don't know what you think, Florence, because of course it's but since now I'm in Asia, I work a lot in Asia. In South Korea, Chanel is the first brand, is the most, let me say, topic brands, which means it's an investment. So changing a brand that isn't considered an investment, it's a big, big topic. But we also have a generation that now want to disrupt. And the disruption needs to also, well, let me say, going a little bit in taking what is the DNA of Chanel and sometimes even a little bit play. So what I think was not easy to do it, play a game with Chanel. And I think Blasi did it. He played, let me say, with this English humor. I think it's better to say that. He used the English humor to deconstruct and rebuild a new image. Otherwise, I don't think it's because people will not love Chanel anymore, but these types of brand needs to think in 3-5 years, not just 6 months to 6 months. So if you want to build a Chanel of 5 years from now, you need to start now to build it. So that's, in my opinion, yes, Blasi did a great job. I don't know if he can sell, but he did a great job because he had the courage to disrupt.
And for you, Florence, what do you think? And also, for you, what brands has truly opened a new era this season for you?
About Chanel, I am looking again at the thing. What I remember was the last one. The last dress was incredible. And plus the presentation, she smiles and it comes and it was so cool. And ça, c'est sûr. The setup of the show was amazing. The clothes were nice, especially that's why I'm looking again. The skirt with the open on the one legs, they were super nice. But and it's nice, but I'm not sure it's super modern. It's, I mean, for me, but it's only my opinion, modernity go with the street style, with the sportswear style. There's something like putting comment on dit un pantalon de survêtement en anglais, sportswear pant. You comprends, voilà. Sportswear pant with a jacket or survêtement with a tailor suit. Enfin, it's a mixed. For me, modernity is something with the mix, and I don't really see the mix. Not on this one, but not only in this one. Alors, for me, the good example for this is Pharrell Williams for Vuitton. This is what he does. He mixes the street influence with the music, the rap influence, with all this black energy. He put in the clothes, and I think it's super good. Here, it's still super classic. So if you are a bourgeoise or neo-rich girl and you want to go only in some place, blah, 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 why not? But I wonder if Chanel, the image of Chanel has to be something cool, modern. You know, she was Gabrielle Chanel. She was an avant-gardiste. She invents a lot of things to make the life of the woman change. I don't see in this collection the power of woman, the power of new woman. I don't really. I think it's nice, aesthetically speaking. Okay, but where is the modernity? I would ask Orietta. Maybe I don't see it. Maybe I don't see really the modernity of the look.
Yes, I like it what you said. And I think, well, I was thinking, because of course we don't know exactly. I was thinking one point, me too, I'm following sport and technology in a super strong way. But since Chanel, I think it's more stronger in Asia, South Asia. If you think, I imagine Korea, because it's where, honestly, I always take my most impression, and then it goes all around South Asia. In South Korea, honestly, sport is already very strong, very big. And they are looking to, let me say a little bit back to a classic style. I don't want to say a classic style, but something that gave to them a kind of elegance. For Blasi was, he need to attract a typology of people that comes from South Korea, I can imagine, okay, that want to differentiate from the streetwear, because streetwear is too different from them, and they are part of this upper level people. They live between Los Angeles to South Korea, double passport. So here in South Asia, we have so many of these types of people. Might be happen that he wanted to do something like this, like Chanel was doing, bit different when everybody are going to follow the same direction. But this is true. He didn't took anything from the streetwear in a massive way like Louis Vuitton is doing. The only taken I have in my mind now is the situation and living in a place where golf, it's still very important. And now, moreover, women, young women want to go inside of this golf sport. It's something like they follow sport, but prestigious sport, not streetwear sports. So I'm trying to put all my elements, which are more in the market, but I do agree. And also another taken, Japan. In Japan, I did lately a very interesting event that I coordinated, moderated about women empowerment in creative industry. And I noticed most of the women in Japan, younger as well, they don't want to have power. Not at all. They want to be pretty, super nice, super elegant. Maybe they miss it this. Maybe we miss it that type of Chanel. I just put it on the floor now because you are all expert. Maybe you can give me something that Zoe knows. I can say things, and sometimes I need to have my, let me say, my expert people also to share it. But let's think about maybe Blasi.
No, but I agree. I agree with you. I agree with you. When it comes with the society is getting more. How would I say? Classic. It's a nice way to say it. It's getting the model is less free than it used to be. If we see what happens in America, if we see what happens in Europe, there is like, I would say, a regression, of the emancipation of the woman. The masculinist movement is super strong, and in this story, the women, they don't want, they want to be the way you describe them. This is true. So I think your analyze, go with the society. They want to be class. They want to be Melania. It's the Melania trip.
Yes, that's what I say. So I try my best to try to put all this energy, and then you see it's more than something more formal, like the club, the membership. I just had in Shanghai Fashion Week the same experience in one of the most classic and traditional old money club. But the people surrounded me was so young. So that was like, what's happened? I'm European. My mom teach me to be like a woman with independency. And in Japan, I had the same experience. That was a little bit, sometimes I like to put all the dots together and then thinks, oh, maybe they had a vision that I haven't.
So that's a very good point. I think both of you have been making. If we are not now just looking at Chanel, because I also share the opinion that Orietta just shared, I think maybe I had to do a message that maybe is more about the Chanel that it will be in 5 years, because I'm not so sure that we are going to see like the first dress in the stores, because I'm not sure the Asian, especially when we talk about the Korean and Japanese Chanel clientele, really is ready for that. Maybe it was more to have a statement that Chanel is going back more to the Coco Chanel spirit, and the brand will change slowly, because disruptiveness in luxury houses has not always really played well in the last years. But one point you both mentioned is that you're seeing a rise of new conservatism in the fashion industry, Did you see this also in other cities? Because we are not only talking about Paris, like what you've seen in other shows in other cities. You think this is a common theme we see in the fashion world, a new conservatism arising? Florence.
But yes, we say. We in America, I told you, it's the Melania Trump look. She's super, she influenced a lot. The way she looks always perfect with the hat, with the sunglasses. There were an event, she had some sunglasses, big sunglasses. And on TikTok, everybody was asking what sunglasses Melania was wearing. And we were all looking, and finally it was a Dior one. But yeah, she's influencer. And well, in France is the mess at the moment. So I can't say anything. But in Europe, yes, and I guess in Asia, Orietta know more than me. But yeah, I think it's a societal movement. People, they want the religion is getting stronger. The rules, well, there is a societal movement. You know, fashion is just a reflection of the society.
It is. Can I also add Mexico? Mexico is another place. I do agree for Melania. Mexico is another place. I travel, when I'm not in Asia, I also do the other side of the world. Mexico is a reflection of another side of United States. And then they like it, this super elegance and this old moment. Let me say old moment, because it's very feminine. Femininity in this case, it's putting still again the women in a certain way. That's a little bit my topic. Also, it's also royal family had this part, as you know, but Melania is taking this aspect. Think about America is not only North America, it's also Central America, South America, even Brazil. So this topic, streetwear, it's more easier for them. And sometimes to be too much disruptive, the religion for them is very strong, the Catholic religion, I mean.
But do you also see, Orietta, do you see this in Europe as well with the European designers? Because I'm not so sure. Is Melania having such a big impact as a style icon in Europe?
No, but I think Europe is another side. So Europe had this wave of the quiet luxury in a certain way. And then the if you think all the wave of quiet luxury was just the revival of all money, all kind of sports. Look at tennis. Come on. Tennis always been existing. When I was a child, I was playing tennis, and now everybody wanna do it. But it's old money. Or golf. When I was talking about golf is not a joke. It's in Europe now. I have friends, the kids, 12 years old, go to have a course in golf. I think, come on, 12 years old, what do you do? Isn't it boring? So I think kind of conservative can happen for sure. But I think we can play more, because if you I give an example. If you change brand, you go to Dior, Anderson did another move. If you think I love it, the intellectuality. This is more European, in my opinion. Is more that you really demonstrate intellectuality means concept, means books, reading, poems, conceptual art, not just pop art, but even something which you need a little bit more knowledge to understand. I know, Johannes, you understand what I mean. So it's not just like a table book, but read the book and also try to make comments. I think Dior try a different game than Chanel. Chanel tried the conservatism and Dior tried the conceptual. Florence,
I like that.
what do you think?
Florence,
I completely agree.
So Orietta said basically Chanel is a coffee table book, and
Sorry.
Dior is a real book, maybe a book without pictures and much more concepts. How is your take on that, Florence?
But that's funny because I was on my way to talk about Jonathan Anderson for Dior, because Jonathan Anderson, I completely agree, he make another proposition. And first with the miniskirt. The miniskirt for Dior, I don't know if someone use it for Dior before, I'm not sure. And they were super mini, and the proposition is very large. There is mini, there is transparent, there is this hat that the same. We were looking for the reference of the hat. It was a joke, Orietta. If you have the reference,
Okay,
I am client. And yes, he's more Jonathan. I think Jonathan Anderson can really make Dior out of this return of the classical way of being with all what it means. And it's not in the sport. It's just trying to make something fresh and cool. And well, I think Jonathan Anderson is a part of it.
yes, thank you for that, because it is true. Having a short skirt inside of Dior was like, this is a revolution. It's not revolution, but it's really, even if you think who are the main target of those brands. Dior has one of the biggest community, when I say community of consumer, which are Indian. Indian are massive. Indian, Emirates, Saudi, but Indians a lot. But Indians now are moving, are traveling. They live in so many different places, and they, as a women, maybe they have more power than other Asians. Think about.
Yeah, so I was about to mention this. So does this kind of appreciation and online attention will finally translate into real sales? What do you think of like all these brands? Among all the brands with new creative directors, which one do you think will get success in the after 6 months? Because I'm mentioning this because there's a very important figure that the earned media value (EMV) for this fashion season was $900 million, which is a lot. And based on an article of WWD that with the figures from Launching Metrics, the attention to this Paris Fashion Week of this season has gained almost the same attention as Cannes Film Festival. So who is going to win the game with the sales? What do you think?
In how long time? How long time? In 1 year, 2 years? How do you see?
For the coming collection, let's say for 1 year, short term, and long term, let's say 3 to 5 years. You can give both answer.
Both answer. Yes,
the
of
same.
course.
For 2 years, the same. They won't change. They won't change. They are super good. They won't change. During those 2 years, they won't change. That's my opinion.
And for long term?
I am not the oracle. For long term?
For long term.
Maybe Anderson could be instead of Gessier at Vuitton. That would be a possibility. But I'm not sure. No, really, I don't know. It's too difficult question. We don't know. I don't know.
How about you? How about you, Orietta? Do you have like a...
Even from my side, I have to say, to do some prediction like this is not depending on a fashion show. It's depending on the action they will act in the next time. Action means how they localize, how they adapt the collection to every country, so every typology of client. Honestly, I think it's cool to write an article and say, oh, let's see this and this, but I don't trust. I'm so sorry if I'm very straight. I think depend of how they built and they structure the merchandising in each store in each country and how they target. Because Chanel could be one of the winner in one side. But Dior, it's absolutely the winner for those one are more intellectual. So depends. how they act, both. And it's not only short. For sure, even for me, it's not short because you need to wait at least 1 year. Because usually consumer need to see 2 rounds, so 2 seasons, and then you have to see what's going on. And then it's also political and economical, and I have to put this, business is also political and economical.
Okay, so let's sum up with a global reading of this season. So from Paris to Milan, New York, and Shanghai, each city has told a different story with the fashion season. For you right now, what connects the fashion capitals today? And what is the global conversation about the future direction of fashion? So I think, Orietta, you are in Hong Kong right now. You must have a lot to share about what is connecting the fashion capitals today.
I can share it, of course, because I was in Shanghai last week. What I see in this season, especially, maybe between Milan and Shanghai, let me do this 2 aspects, also Paris, because Paris always lead at that, is the cultural aspect injected inside of the fashion week. I mentioned for Shanghai, for all of you, full of neighborhood exhibition. So what does it mean cultural? Cultural means every fashion week try to spread more about the local strength, the local heritage, the local, let me say, the narrative in an artistic way. Moreover than doing something that is a copycat for somebody else. I appreciate that Shanghai, it's going more into this direction. So more different identities, more artistic approach, more cultural aspect, rather than say, I want to become like New York, I want to become like London. So this is the more common sense. Milan, I have to say, more than fashion show, sometimes it's so nice to see what's happened outside. Like Fuori Salone, it's outside of the fashion week, which in my opinion, Paris already built it before. So seeing when we talk about streetwear, for me, streetwear is what it's going beyond the scene. The other types of show, other types of events, the little boutique that do something, the art installation, all of these things. Something I don't see so much in New York.
And
Thank
what's
you,
your
Orietta.
take?
Yes,
Sorry.
Florence, your take, sorry.
Alors, my experience is more about Paris Fashion Week. I'm used with some little one like Riga, like Tunis, like Morocco, like Moscow. Been in Moscow Fashion Week, London Fashion Week. But do you want me to talk about this one or to talk about Paris Fashion Week?
I think from the latest Paris Fashion Week, because Orietta mentioned that maybe it's also a part of a new conservatism that we have this rise of focusing on its own culture and tradition, what she experienced in Shanghai. How you think the cultural storytelling in Paris has changed?
Alors, Paris, it's the specificity of Paris is that it is an international place for fashion. There is people coming from all over the world. You have the brand who make their show or their presentation into the calendar of the Fédération de la Haute Couture et de la Mode. It's what they call the official calendar. It's just the calendar of the federation actually, but they call it official. And a part of this, there is a lot of events that we call off, like on-off. And it is presentation, fashion show, opening of shops, pop-ups. There were a lot of pop-up this year. It was the last season. It was really, there were pop-up all over, and it was creators that sell on B2C their own clothes. And so I would say that this off is very interesting because the surprise comes from this off. Because the other brand, you know already them. And plus, even if you are not at the show, there is so many social media, so many images, you cannot miss it. But the other one, they really create the surprise. And especially there is a vague, which is again, in a way, the classical way of dark avant-garde, which is close with the Gothic, which is close to Rick Owens style. And they were matière fécale that entered the official calendar of the Federation, which is in the same way. There is another one called Judasim, which is in off. There is a pop-up called X Room. And all this dark avant-garde is like an answer to this very bourgeoisie collective. So that's the what's it's cool in the Paris Fashion Week is to discover, and also the showroom, the trade show. They are more commercial because they are held by big structure like GL Events for Tranoï and WSN for Première Class and Run. So the trade show, they are still commercial, but really the showroom, the pop-up, some wild presentation, they were cool to discover in Paris.
So Paris still has the revolutionary spirit there. It's not just.
We try. We try to put the mess. It's not so easy.
The revolutionary people.
We try. It's not so easy at the moment.
It's on the blood of France. Everybody knows that. It's on the blood of France, isn't it? When they decide to do a revolution, they do it. They don't just say it.
You remember Maria Luisa, the shop of Maria Luisa, the Venezuelan girl. She has. Once I interviewed her and I asked about the way of the costumer, the French costumer with the fashion. How do they react? And she answers me. They start to say no. They start to say no.
No. Yes, of course.
So I maybe one question, I think, because Florence in the beginning had one point about sustainability, which was also a little surprising for me, because I think especially in Europe, with the EU coming out with all these regulations, with the guideline, the EU Green Deal, our responsible supply chain regulations, etc. But it seemed the theme of sustainability or of like new material innovation, whatever what we are talking on all the summits around the world about the fashion industry, this was not really a strong message. How do you see that, Florence? Is it or did I miss something? Was it something very strong? So I would like to hear both your take on that.
But if you look at LVMH or Kering, they have a lot of programs for sustainability. For LVMH, for example, is Life. They call it Life 360, Life 360, and it's a big program. But after, if you look at the show, if you look at the clothes, it's new materials, it's leather. So let's talk about the animal. They don't communicate, but I have to say that I have to give two examples that I really like. One is Stella McCartney, because she's been always on this way. And this year with an industrial, she make a material to make the imitation of the plumes, for the birds. How do you call it?
The feather?
The animals. The birds, what is it? What they have?
Feather.
The feeders, yes.
Feather.
Voilà, c'est ça. So she invents a materials that looks like, and it doesn't. It's not, and it's not plastic. So, and the second things, maybe you heard about Nona Source. Well, listen, you heard about Deadstock. The fact that the luxury brand, they have some fabrics that the young designer they can take. About creativity, I'm a little bit suspicious about it. But there is a French man called Benjamin Benmoyal, and this one is taking yarns so yarns that are not used, and he's making his own textile. And now he's working with Nona Source, who belongs to LVMH, and he can make for the designer with these yarns that are not used, which are dead stock of yarns, new fabrics. And I think this is two examples that show that things can be different in this way.
Orietta, we also went to Milan and we also had a discussion with designers there. The Camera Nazionale della Moda had put a lot of effort in sustainable change in the fashion industry over the last decade. If we look at, now we had some examples from Paris. If we are going to Milan, what was the strongest sustainability design message that you saw, or Milan and Shanghai, where you just came back from?
Yeah, of course, talking from the stage of the Italian industry, I have to say sustainability is part of all the life, all the journey of a product. So CNMI started in 2011. In September, we had the edition of Sustainability Award that before was called a green carpet. So, which is a strong message. I have to say that this means sustainability. It is part of the game. It's part of all the actions. What I have to say is sustainability evolved a lot. Sustainability now has different chapter. We also have a manifesto. Caring Group and WMH are part of this manifesto. So in this case, we trust more in the product passport right now, which is telling you where the product is coming from. We know exactly that leather, genuine leather, real leather, is a waste of food industry. So it's regulated by that. If you use leather, it has to be the real one and produce and treat in a real way. If you use cashmere, it's the same things, and cotton is the same things. So all top luxury brands understood that first, catwalk is not the place to talk about this. And second, if you really want to be sustainable, you need to be for all your journey sustainable. So this is the reason why I think now we are finally when I say finally setting up a little bit this language, rather than see a designer that just think I'm sustainable. This is not, it just, we call doing bricolage. I don't know in English. It's better to do like in sustainability award, he's saying like Zegna won one of the prize. Why? In the way they use water, they clean the water, they give back the water to the land, they created an oasis, they made beautiful fabrics, but still they respect the environment. So water was one of the topic. So I think without taking too much of these stories, I think now finally sustainability become a science. And becoming a science, you need to see numbers and data. And last but not least, European economy gave to all European manufacturers and brands and companies that they cannot throw away anything. So they are obliged to create the circular system. If you ask me about Shanghai, no, it's not the place. That's the reason. It's not the place, but I can understand why. I think sustainability in Shanghai is another topic. It's more bringing back the tradition and the origin of this beautiful, amazing country, which is China. And now finally this generation, it's more, I want to use the word that you used before, holistic. It's more going to bring back Taoism, Confucianism, making with nature, making slow and not fast. These are the things can be my take and from fashion design interior from Shanghai, that it's more sustainable in a certain way.
Well, thank you. Zoe, any more questions, or are we about to
Yeah, I
round?
think that's pretty much that we are going to what we have. I think that's pretty much about this roundtable. So I would like to thank all of our guests for your insightful opinions. And Johannes, I don't know if you have anything to add for this roundtable at the
Yes,
end.
thank you. A really big thanks to Florence and Orietta for their sharing. I think we
Thank
touched
you.
lots of interesting topics, and it was really wonderful to hear your personal take on the next season and what we just experienced at a few fashion shows all around the world. So thank you very much for being with us today. Also, thanks everyone from our WWD China audience for watching the front row at WWD. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you for
you.
inviting us, and thank you to put us in this
Thank you so
interesting.
much.
Thank you.